The city mall was busy that afternoon. People moved from shop to shop carrying bags full of clothes, shoes, and gifts. In the center of the mall stood a popular clothes store called Bright Threads. It had shining glass windows that showed the latest fashion on tall mannequins. The store was known for its colorful dresses, neat suits, and friendly service. At least, that was what most people believed. A young girl named Alina walked into the store. She was about 17 years old, dressed in a plain blue sweater and worn jeans. Her hair was tied back in a simple braid, and she carried a small bag that looked old but well cared for. Alina's eyes lit up when she saw the new dresses displayed on the racks. She had been saving money for weeks to buy a gift for someone special. Inside, the air smelled of new fabric and fresh perfume. The light made the colors of the clothes shine brighter. Alina walked slowly between the racks, touching the soft sleeves of a jacket and smiling to herself. She was thinking about how her mother used to love visiting stores like this. Near the counter stood the store manager, Mr. Collins. He was a man in his late 40s, wearing a gray suit with a silver name badge. His hair was neatly combed, and he had a habit of keeping his arms folded as he watched the customers. Mr. Collins liked order, and he believed he could tell who belonged in his store and who did not. He noticed Alina the moment she entered. In his mind, her plain clothes and quiet steps did not match the kind of customers he wanted to see. Instead of welcoming her, he narrowed his eyes. He whispered something to one of the shop assistants, who gave a quick nod and went back to folding shirts. Alina kept looking at the clothes, unaware that she was being watched. She found a simple but beautiful summer dress with light yellow flowers on it. The fabric was soft, and it reminded her of warm afternoons in her grandmother's garden. She took it off the rack and held it against herself, smiling in the mirror. Mr. Collins decided he had seen enough. He walked toward her with slow, deliberate steps. "Excuse me," he said in a tone that was polite on the surface, but cold underneath. Alina turned around, a little surprised. "Yes?" she asked. "This store sells premium clothing," Mr. Collins said. "Perhaps you should look for something more suitable for your budget elsewhere." The words stung, but Alina kept her voice calm. "I'm just looking," she said softly. "That may be so," Mr. Collins replied, "but we prefer that customers who are here to purchase stay. If you are only browsing, we have other customers who need assistance." Alina glanced around. The store was not crowded at all. A few shoppers were at the far end, trying on jackets. She felt her cheeks grow warm, but she did not argue. "All right," she said, placing the dress back on the rack. She turned to leave, but a part of her wanted to ask why she was being treated like this. Still, she stayed quiet. From behind, a voice spoke up. "Is there a problem here?" Both Alina and Mr. Collins turned. A tall man in his early 50s stood at the entrance. He wore a dark coat, and his eyes were sharp but kind. His name was Mr. Hale, and he had recently purchased Bright Threads. Few of the staff had met him yet, as he had been busy finalizing business matters. "No problem, sir," Mr. Collins said quickly, straightening his posture. "Just helping a customer find her way out." Mr. Hale's eyes shifted to Alina. "Out?" he asked. "Yes," Mr. Collins replied. "She doesn't seem like she's here to buy anything." Alina looked at the floor. She didn't know whether to explain herself or simply walk away. Mr. Hale stepped closer. "And why exactly is that your decision, Collins?" he asked quietly. The manager hesitated. "I was just trying to keep the store's image." Before he could finish, Mr. Hale smiled at Alina. "Young lady, I believe you were looking at something," he said. "Please take your time." Alina felt a strange mix of relief and confusion. She gave a small nod. Mr. Hale then looked at the manager. "Collins, perhaps I should tell you something important. This young woman is my daughter." The store seemed to fall silent. The assistant stopped folding clothes for a moment, and Even the customers nearby looked over in surprise. Mr. Collins blinked, clearly caught off guard. "Your daughter?" he repeated. "Yes," Mr. Hale said calmly. "She has every right to be here, more than anyone else, in fact." Alina looked up at her father. She hadn't expected him to be here today, and she certainly hadn't expected this moment. Mr. Hale turned to her. "Go ahead, choose what you like," he said warmly. Alina's lips curved into a small smile. She picked the yellow dress from the rack again. Mr. Collins stood frozen for a moment, unsure of what to say. He realized his mistake but could not undo what had just happened. As Alina walked toward the fitting rooms, she glanced over her shoulder. For the first time, she noticed the large framed picture on the wall behind the counter. It showed her, father standing with the store's founders, shaking hands. She wondered how many other people in the store had not recognized her. Her father gave her a reassuring nod. "I'll be here when you're done," he said. The moment felt different. Now, the air in the store was the same, the lights still bright, but something in the atmosphere had shifted. Mr. Collins stepped back toward the counter, his mind racing. He had built his career on reading people, but today he had misread completely Alina. Meanwhile, thought about how quickly people judged one another. She decided that after this, she would remember not just the hurt, but also the kindness of her father's voice when he spoke up for her. Outside, the mall continued its busy rhythm. Unaware that inside Bright Threads, a quiet lesson had just been learned. Alina stepped into the fitting room holding the yellow dress. The mirror in front of her showed a girl who had walked into the store feeling small, but now stood a little taller. She tried on the dress and twirled slowly, watching how the fabric flowed around her knees. For the first time that day, she smiled fully. Outside the fitting room, Mr. Hale stood with his hands in his pockets. He was calm, but inside, he felt the sting of seeing his own daughter treated unfairly. He had built his business not just for profit, but to create a place where everyone felt welcome. What had just happened told him that not everyone in his store understood that vision yet. Mr. Collins remained behind the counter, pretending to sort receipts. He kept glancing toward Mr. Hale, wondering if there would be a direct conversation about what had just happened. The assistants whispered to each other, their curiosity growing with every passing second. Alina stepped out of the fitting room, holding the dress carefully. Her father smiled at her. "It suits you," he said warmly. "Thank you," she replied softly. Mr. Hale looked toward the counter. "Collins, would you join us in my office after this?" His voice was polite, but carried a weight that made it clear this was not a request. "Of course, sir," Mr. Collins said quickly. Alina went to the register with the dress, and her father paid without hesitation. As they left the store together, the assistants exchanged looks. Something told them the day was far from over. The two walked through the wide halls of the mall until they reached a quiet cafe. It was a small place with soft lighting and the gentle sound of coffee cups being placed on saucers. Mr. Hale ordered tea for himself and hot chocolate for Alina. For a moment, they sat in silence. Alina traced the rim of her cup with her finger before speaking. "I didn't expect you to be there today," she said. "I didn't expect to see what I saw," her father replied. His tone was gentle, but his eyes were thoughtful. "Did this happen before?" Alina shook her head. "No. But I've felt people look at me that way in other places, like I don't belong there." Mr. Hale took a sip of his tea. Belonging is not something you wait for others to give you. You carry it with you. If you believe you belong, others will see it too, eventually. Alina looked down at her cup. "It still hurts, though." He nodded. "Yes, and that is why I want to show you something." She raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" "Not here," he said with a small smile. "At the store's main office." Later that afternoon, they drove across the city to a tall glass building. The main office of Bright Threads was nothing like the busy mall store. The lobby was quiet, with soft music playing in the background. Staff members greeted Mr. Hale respectfully as he led Alina toward the private elevator. When the doors opened, they stepped into his office, a wide room with a panoramic view of the city. Shelves lined the walls, filled with books, old photographs, and small models of clothing designs. On his desk sat a sleek silver device that looked slightly unusual, with a faint blue light running along its edges. Alina noticed it right away. "What's that?" she asked. "This," her father said, picking it up carefully, "is something I've been working on for years. It is part of the company's future." The blue light brightened as he touched the surface. A gentle hum filled the air. Then, to Alina's surprise, a three-dimensional image appeared above the device. A detailed projection of the store floor, complete with customers and staff moving around in real time. Her eyes widened. "It's like a live map." "Yes," he said, "but it's more than that. It can track patterns, the way people move, where they stop, what they look at, even their expressions. It helps us understand the customer experience without having to guess." Alina stepped closer, fascinated. "So you can see everything that happens?" Her father nodded. "Including what happened today. This technology is going to change the way we run our stores. But it's not just about sales. It's about making sure everyone is treated well." She tilted her head. "Then why didn't you stop the manager sooner?" Mr. Hale sighed. "Because sometimes, to truly see a problem, you have to let it happen in the open. Now, I can address it directly." Alina thought about that for a moment. It made sense, but it also made her realize something. Her father was playing a much bigger game than she had imagined. He tapped the device again, and the projection changed. It now showed lines of light forming around certain customers, each line in a different color. "These colors," he explained, "represent how comfortable a customer feels. The device reads subtle signals: posture, movement, time spent in one area. If someone feels unwelcome, the color shifts. The reading for you today was deep red." Alina felt a chill. "So you could see I was uncomfortable." "Yes," he said, "and that's why I came." She stared at the device, realizing that her father wasn't just a store owner. He was someone trying to change how people treated one another, using both heart and advanced technology. Outside the office window, the city lights began to glow as evening settled in. Mr. Hale switched off the device and looked at his daughter. "Tomorrow," he said, "you and I will return to that store together. But this time, you won't just be a customer. I want you to help me test this system." Alina's eyes lit up. "You mean I'll work there?" "Only for a little while," he said with a smile, "but long enough to understand what it feels like from the inside." She nodded slowly, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Something told her that this was only the beginning of a much bigger story, one where she would not just watch from the side but take part in changing things for the better. The next morning, the city was bright and full of movement. Alina woke early, her mind buzzing with thoughts about what her father had said the night before. She dressed in the same plain sweater and jeans she had worn to the store before. If she was going to work undercover, she needed to look like an ordinary customer-turned-helper. When she reached the company headquarters, her father was waiting in the lobby. He handed her a small badge with her name on it. "You will be a temporary floor assistant," he said. "Your job is simple. Greet customers, help them find things, and observe how they are treated by others, including staff. The device will track everything." Alina held the badge and nodded. She was nervous, but also curious. She wanted to see for herself what went on inside the store when no one knew she was the owner's daughter. They took a quiet ride to the mall. The store looked the same as yesterday. Shiny glass windows, colorful displays, and neatly arranged racks. Inside, customers were browsing, and the air smelled of fresh perfume again. Mr. Collins was already at the counter. He froze for a moment when he saw Alina walk in with her father. His eyes narrowed slightly, but then he forced a polite smile. "Good morning, Collins," Mr. Hale said in a calm voice. "This is Alina. She will be working here for a while." Collins hesitated. "Of course, sir," he said. His tone was flat, but he kept the smile in place. Alina pinned her badge to her sweater and stepped behind the counter to place her bag in the staff area. One of the shop assistants, a young woman named Claire, smiled warmly. "First day?" she asked. "Yes," Alina said, returning the smile. "I'm here to help out." Claire nodded. "If you need anything, just ask me. Mr. Collins can be strict sometimes, but he's good at running the place." Alina kept her thoughts to herself and stepped onto the shop floor. She began greeting customers as they walked in, just as her father had told her. She noticed how some people smiled, back warmly, while others seemed surprised at being approached by someone new. An older lady came in looking for a gift for her granddaughter. Alina listened carefully, asked a few questions, and then guided her to a section with soft sweaters and dresses. The woman's face brightened as she found something she liked. Meanwhile, at the counter, Mr. Collins was watching. He didn't seem happy that Alina was doing well. A few times he walked over to check on her, giving instructions that sounded more like warnings. Around midday, a group of teenagers entered the store, laughing and talking loudly. Collins frowned and stepped forward, clearly about to say something. Alina quickly greeted them and offered to show them the new arrivals. They followed her to a display of jackets, trying them on and taking pictures. In the end, 2 of them bought jackets before leaving happily. Claire whispered to Alina, "You handled that well. Collins usually tells them to keep it down." Alina smiled. Sometimes all people need is to feel welcome. At that moment, her father's device, hidden in her pocket, buzzed softly. She stepped aside and checked the small screen. It showed a live reading of the store floor with colored lines around customers. Most were green or yellow, but she noticed a red one near the fitting rooms. Following the reading, Alina found a young man standing awkwardly near the mirror, holding a shirt, but looking unsure. She approached him gently. "Can I help you with anything?" He hesitated. "I'm not sure if this is the right size. I don't usually shop in places like this." Alina smiled kindly. "Let's check together. If it's not the right size, I'll find one that fits." After a few minutes, the customer left the fitting room smiling and carrying 2 shirts to the counter. The red reading on the device shifted to green. Back near the register, Mr. Collins gave Alina a look that was half suspicious and half annoyed. She knew he was wondering how she was turning hesitant customers into buyers so easily. By late afternoon, Alina had helped more than a dozen customers. Each time she noticed someone standing alone or looking uncertain, she approached them, and each time the device readings improved. When her shift ended, her father returned to pick her up. They stepped outside the store together. "How was it?" he asked. Alina thought for a moment. "Some people are easy to help. Others, it's like they already expect to be judged. If you make them feel welcome, they open up." Her father nodded. "Exactly. That is the heart of good business. The technology helps us see the problem, but only people can fix it." She smiled. "I think I'm starting to understand." As they walked toward the exit, Alina glanced back at the store. Mr. Collins was still behind the counter watching them go. She wondered what he was thinking and whether he was beginning to realize that the way he treated people might soon change. The day had been long, but it had given Alina something new, a sense of purpose. She wasn't just helping her father's business. She was learning how small acts could change the way people felt, even in a place as simple as a clothing store, and somewhere deep inside, she sensed that her time undercover was going to reveal much more than just customer habits. Something told her that the store had hidden problems, and she was about to find them. The next day, Alina arrived at the store early. The mall was still quiet, and only a few shops had opened. She liked this time of the morning because everything felt calm and fresh. She pinned her badge on her sweater and stepped inside. Claire was already arranging new arrivals near the entrance. She smiled when she saw Alina. "Morning. You're early." "I wanted to see the store before the rush starts," Alina replied. She moved toward the back, pretending to check the fitting rooms. But in truth, she was looking at the small device hidden in her pocket. The soft blue glow lit up the screen, showing the layout of the store. Green and yellow circles marked the positions of staff. The rest of the space was empty because customers had not yet arrived. By mid-morning, the store began to fill. A mother with 2 children came in first, followed by a young man carrying a backpack. Then more customers wandered in. As Alina greeted each person, the device began to fill with colors: green for those who seemed comfortable, yellow for those uncertain, and red for those who felt unwelcome. At first, it all seemed normal. People who came in smiling stayed green. Those who were shy at first often turned green after a little help. But after an hour, Alina noticed something strange. Some customers turned red almost immediately. Before anyone had even spoken to them, she decided to watch more closely. A tall man in a dark jacket entered the store. The moment he stepped inside, Mr. Collins glanced at him briefly before turning away. The device flashed red around the man's outline. No one greeted him. After a few minutes of wandering, he left without buying anything. Alina frowned. The same thing happened with a woman who came in wearing work overalls. She looked around, quickly saw Mr. Collins watching her, and turned to leave. Another red reading. She began to realize that these red readings were not random. They often appeared when Mr. Collins or certain assistants made quick, silent judgments about a customer. Even without saying anything, their body language seemed to tell some people they were not welcome. At lunchtime, Alina stepped outside to meet her father, who had been waiting near the food court. She explained what she had seen. "The device shows red before anyone talks to them," she said. "It's like they feel judged the moment they walk in." Mr. Hale listened carefully. "That is exactly the kind of pattern we need to understand," he said. "Technology can show the moment discomfort begins, but it takes a human eye to see why." They returned to the store together. Mr. Hale stayed near the entrance, quietly observing while Alina continued her work. A young couple came in, holding hands and smiling. Claire greeted them warmly, and they turned green almost instantly on the device. Then an elderly man entered, wearing a faded cap. Mr. Collins was at the counter. He looked up, gave a short glance, and went back to his paperwork without greeting the man. The red reading appeared again. Alina moved quickly to greet the man herself. She asked if he was looking for something specific. He said he wanted a warm jacket. She guided him to a rack near the back, and within minutes he found one that fit perfectly. As they walked to the counter, the device showed his red outline shifting to yellow, then green. Her father noticed everything. He stayed silent, but Alina could see in his eyes that he was already thinking about what changes needed to happen. By late afternoon, the pattern was clear. Friendliness turned colors green, indifference kept them yellow, and cold judgment turned them red. The device could track it, but only people could change it. When the store closed for the day, Mr. Hale asked the staff to gather for a short meeting. Everyone stood near the counter. "I want to thank you for your work today," he began. "We had a good number of customers and many left happy, but we can do better." Mr. Collins folded his arms. "Better in what way?" Mr. Hale's tone stayed calm. "Every customer who walks in should feel welcome, not just the ones we think will buy something. We will be making changes to ensure that happens." Claire nodded in agreement, but some assistants looked unsure. Mr. Collins simply said, Of course, sir. After the meeting, Alina helped Claire fold the last few shirts. Claire glanced at her and whispered, I think the boss is serious about changing things. Alina smiled, faintly. He is. As they left for the night, Alina kept thinking about the red readings. If they could turn all of them green, the store would not only sell more, but also become a place where no one felt out of place. She didn't know exactly how yet, but she was ready to try. Outside, her father walked beside her. Tomorrow, he said, we test something new. The device can suggest what to say or do to change a red to green faster. I want you to be the first to try it. Alina felt a spark of excitement. So it will guide me in real time? Yes, he replied. But remember, the device is only as good as the person using it. It can suggest, but you must deliver it with real care. She nodded, already imagining how the day might go. Somewhere deep inside, she felt proud, not just because she was helping her father's business, but because she was part of something that could make people feel seen and valued in a way that technology alone could never do. The next morning, Alina reached the store earlier than usual. She wore her badge and carried the small device in her pocket. Her father had updated it the night before, and now it could give suggestions in real time. She felt both excited and nervous about trying it. Claire greeted her with a cheerful smile as she unpacked a box of scarves. You look ready for something big today, she said. I guess you could say that, Alina replied, keeping the real reason to herself for now. When the first customers entered, Alina turned on the device. The familiar store layout appeared, on the small screen, but this time, whenever a customer turned yellow or red, a short line of text appeared beneath their outline. The first was a young woman standing near the dresses, her outline yellow. The text read, Offer assistance and compliment choice. Alina walked over and smiled warmly. That dress you're holding is one of our most popular pieces. It would look great on you. The woman smiled, asked a few questions, and within minutes the outline turned green. Not long after, a man entered with a hesitant step. The moment he crossed the threshold, his outline flashed red and the text read, Greet immediately and guide to product area. Alina moved quickly. Good morning, she said. Are you looking for something in particular? We just got a new range of jackets. The man seemed surprised, but followed her to the rack. He tried one on and smiled at the fit. The outline shifted to yellow, then green. This went on for most of the morning. Every time the device gave a suggestion, Alina followed it, adding her own warmth and friendliness. Almost every customer left happy, and many made purchases. Meanwhile, Mr. Collins noticed the unusual pattern. Customers seemed more satisfied than usual, and several even thanked Alina personally on their way out. His expression grew tighter as the day went on. Around midday, the device buzzed again, but this time the suggestion was unusual. A middle-aged woman had entered and turned red instantly. The text read, Approach carefully. Ask about her day before offering help. Alina followed the advice. Good afternoon. How's your day going so far? The woman looked at her in surprise, then smiled faintly. It's been busy. I'm just looking around. That's fine, Alina said gently. If you need anything, I'm right here. She didn't push. A few minutes later, the woman came to her and asked for help finding a scarf. By the time she left, her outline was green. Claire had been watching. You have a way of making people relax, she said. Alina smiled. Sometimes it's just about listening first. In the afternoon, the device showed something even stranger. 2 customers entered together and both turned red immediately. But the suggestion read, Address both equally. Maintain balanced eye contact. Alina greeted them warmly, making sure to speak to both and give each person the same attention. Slowly, their outlines changed to yellow, then green. They left with several bags in their hands. By closing time, the results were clear. The device's new feature was working better than expected. Her father arrived just as the last customers were leaving. "How was it?" he asked as they stepped outside. "It works," Alina said. "Almost every red turned green today. But I think it's not just the device. People can tell if you really care." Mr. Hale nodded. "Exactly. The device gives direction, but the human touch makes the difference." Before they could leave, Claire hurried out of the store. "Alina, wait. I just wanted to say, you changed the atmosphere today. Everyone seemed happier." Alina thanked her, feeling a quiet pride. As they walked toward the parking lot, her father lowered his voice. "Tomorrow we'll try something bigger. I want to link the device to the store's central system so we can track not just individual customers, but the overall atmosphere in real time. If we can turn an entire store green, it will be a first." Alina's eyes widened. "The whole store?" "Yes," he said, "and I want you to lead the test." The idea made her heart race. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but after what she had seen today, she felt ready to try. Somewhere in her mind, she was starting to imagine how this technology could be used in places far beyond a clothing store, in schools, hospitals, anywhere people needed to feel welcome. As they drove home, the city lights reflected in the car windows. Alina realized that she was no longer just helping her father run a store. She was part of something that could change how people connected with each other, one conversation at a time. The next morning, the air in the mall felt fresh and cool. Alina arrived with her father carrying a slightly larger version of the device. This new model had a wider screen and a small antenna that allowed it to link directly to the store's central system. Claire met them at the door. "What's the plan today?" she asked, curious about the unusual equipment. Alina smiled. "We're going to make the whole store feel welcome." Inside, Mr. Collins was already at the counter. His eyes narrowed when he saw the new device. "What is that?" he asked. "It's for a company test," Mr. Hale replied calmly. "Alina will be leading it today." Collins didn't look pleased, but he said nothing. The store opened as usual, and the first wave of customers came in. On the large screen, the store layout lit up in a soft glow. Instead of showing just one or two outlines, it displayed every person inside. Their comfort levels were shown as colors across the entire floor. Green for welcome, yellow for unsure, red for unwelcome. At first, the colors were mixed. A few areas near the entrance glowed yellow, and one corner near the fitting rooms flashed red. The device began giving short messages at the bottom of the screen. "Greet new arrivals immediately. Assist fitting room queue. Balance staff positions." Alina moved quickly. She greeted people as soon as they stepped in, offered help near the fitting rooms, and asked Claire to shift closer to the back so no section was left unattended. Slowly, the yellow areas began to turn green. But the red corner remained. Alina walked over and found Mr. Collins talking to a young man who was holding a shirt. His tone was polite but cold, and the customer's shoulders were tense. Alina stepped in. "Can I help you find another size?" she asked the customer with a friendly smile. The young man looked relieved. "Yes, that would be great." Within minutes, he had the right size and was smiling as he headed to the counter. On the device screen, the red faded to yellow, then green. Collins gave Alina a sharp look. "I had it handled," he said quietly. "Maybe," she replied calmly, "but it's better when the customer leaves happy." By midday, the store's overall reading was more green than yellow, but a few red spots still appeared now and then. Each time, the device gave quick suggestions. Engage group in casual conversation, offer product information, acknowledge waiting customer. Alina followed them all, making sure to add her own warmth to every interaction. Claire noticed the change. "The energy in here feels different," she whispered while folding scarves. "People are staying longer and they seem happier." In the afternoon, something unexpected happened. A sudden rush of customers entered at once. Families, friends and individuals all coming in together. The screen lit up with moving colors, and a few red areas began to spread. Alina acted fast, asking Claire to handle the front entrance greetings while she moved between the racks, helping wherever needed. She used the device's suggestions, but also trusted her instincts, offering water to a tired customer, finding a seat for someone waiting, complimenting choices, and checking in on those who looked lost. Slowly, the red areas shrank again. By the time the crowd thinned, the screen showed something it had never displayed before, the entire store glowing green. Her father, standing quietly near the entrance, smiled. "You did it," he said softly. Alina felt a warm sense of pride. We all did. It's not just me, but not everyone shared her excitement. Collins approached Mr. Hale. "Sir, I have to say this method is distracting. Staff should focus on sales, not on following a screen's suggestions." Mr. Hale kept his voice steady. "Sales follow satisfaction, Collins. A customer who feels welcome is far more likely to buy." Collins didn't reply, but his expression showed he was not convinced. When the store closed for the day, the staff gathered for a short meeting. Mr. Hale showed them the final screen image, a perfect green reading across the entire store. "This," he said, "is what we are aiming for every day. It means every customer felt welcome from start to finish." Claire clapped softly, and a few others nodded in agreement. Collins remained silent. As the staff left, Alina stayed behind with her father to pack up the device. "Today was amazing," she said. "But I can tell Collins isn't happy about it." Mr. Hale nodded slowly. "He may see it as a threat to his way of doing things. Some people resist change even when it's for the better." Alina thought about that as they walked out of the mall. She knew tomorrow might bring new challenges, especially if Collins tried to push back against the new system. But she also knew that with the device, her instincts, and her father's support, she could handle whatever came next. What she didn't know yet was that the results from today's test had already been sent to the company's main research team, and they had plans for the technology that went far beyond clothing stores. The next day, Alina reached the store early. The mall was still quiet, lights just beginning to flicker on. She unlocked the door and stepped inside, holding the device carefully. She wanted to run one more test before customers came. Her father soon joined her with a sealed envelope in his hand. "This came from the main office late last night," he said. Alina opened it and read. The letter congratulated them on the perfect green reading from the day before. It also said that the data from the test had been reviewed by the company's innovation board. They wanted Alina and Mr. Hale to travel to the city headquarters to present their method to the full team. Alina's eyes lit up. "They really noticed?" she asked. "They noticed," her father said with a smile. "And they have big ideas for this technology." By the time the staff arrived, Alina and her father had already planned the day. Collins walked in with his usual serious expression. He glanced at the device on the counter and then at the letter in Mr. Hale's hand. "What is that?" he asked. Mr. Hale replied calmly. "It's an invitation. The company wants to hear more about our new system." Collins frowned. "I hope they also want to hear about traditional store management. You can't run a business on colors and screens?" Alina decided not to argue. She simply smiled and said, we'll see what they say." The store opened and customers began coming in. Alina noticed something different. Even without her holding the device every second, the staff were already behaving differently. Claire greeted people at the door without being told. Another team member offered help in the fitting room before. A line formed. The colors on the device stayed mostly green on their own. By noon, even Collins was greeting a customer with a polite nod and a lighter tone in his voice. Alina wondered if he even noticed the change in himself. In the afternoon, Mr. Hale stepped aside to make a phone call. When he returned, he told Alina they would travel to the city the next morning. "Pack light," he said. We'll only stay one day." That night, Alina could hardly sleep. She kept thinking about what she would say to the board, how the device was not just about tracking colors, but about understanding people's needs in real time and acting before small problems became big ones. The next morning, they took a train to the city. The headquarters building was tall and shining, with wide glass doors. Inside, a receptionist guided them to a large conference room. A group of people in smart suits were already seated, waiting. The lead board member, a woman with silver hair and bright eyes, greeted them warmly. "We've been following your project with great interest," she said. "The results from your store are unlike anything we've seen before." Alina and her father set up the device and showed the color readings from the previous day. They explained how the suggestions worked and how staff could improve customer comfort in seconds. One board member asked, "Could this work outside retail?" Alina paused, then nodded. "Yes. It could help in hospitals to make patients feel safe. It could work in schools so teachers know when students are confused or stressed. It could even help in airports or public buildings where people often feel lost." There was a murmur of interest around the table. The silver-haired woman leaned forward. "And you came up with the improvement yourself?" Alina looked at her father. "It was teamwork," she said. "The technology existed, but it needed a human touch to make it truly work." For the next hour, they answered questions, ran live demonstrations, and even simulated a small crowd by having staff from the office walk into the room. The device worked perfectly, reading comfort levels and suggesting actions that made the atmosphere lighter and friendlier in minutes. When the meeting ended, the silver-haired woman stood. "We will be starting a new program based on this method," she announced. "It will be called Project Green Welcome, and it will be introduced to select locations across the country. And Alina, we'd like you to be our youngest project advisor." Alina's heart skipped a beat. "I'd be honored," she said. On the train ride back, her father smiled at her. "You've changed more than one store. You might change the way people think about service everywhere." Back at the store the next day, the staff gathered to hear the news. Claire clapped excitedly. Even Collins gave a short nod. "Congratulations," he said quietly. Alina knew the work ahead would be big, but she also knew that every green reading on the screen meant something important, a person feeling welcome, respected, and valued, and that, to her, was worth every effort.